Hey students, in this short video I'm going to explain how to factor trinomials, specifically factor trinomials that start with a number 1. So for example, we have n squared plus 9n plus 20. So this is considered a trinomial. It has 3 terms and the front has a coefficient of a number 1. So anytime you have a trinomial that starts with 1, you know that your binomials of factors will have a 1 because 1 times 1 is 1. So we know we're going to have n times n. Now, what you're trying to do is find out what two binomials do you multiply to get this as an answer. Let's review how to multiply first. Here is an example. M minus 4 times m plus 6. If you multiply this, you'll have m times m, which is m squared. And then m times 6, which is 6m. And then negative 4 times m, which is negative 4m. And then negative 4 times 6, which is negative 24m. So you end up with 4 terms. But then you're going to notice that these terms in the middle are like terms. So you combine those. And you end up with m squared, and 6 minus 4 is positive 2, and then negative 24. So your answer is a trinomial that has the first term from m times m and the last term from negative 4 times 6, but that middle term is a combination of these two terms that come out from multiplying the parts in the inside. Let me show you this with the box method. M minus 4, m plus 6. M times m is m squared, m times negative 4 is negative 4m, m times 6 is 6m, and negative 4 times 6 is negative 24m. No m, sorry. These are the like terms that you end up combining. So your answer consists of the m squared on its own, these two combined, so negative 4 plus 6 is positive 2m, and then this last one as your last term. And again, if I compare them, they're the same answer. So to get this, we now need to think backwards. We have to look at, I'm giving you the answer, and you have to think of what two terms do you combine to get that 9. But when you multiply these numbers, they should equal 20. So let's start with that. You look at this last term, and you ask yourself, what do you multiply to get 20? 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. All of those are combinations of factors that give you 20. Now, which combination gives you the 9 if you were to add them? So the one that gives you the 9 is 4 plus 5. So we're going to have here a positive 4 and a positive 5. Why does this work? Well, let's multiply and you'll see. We will have n times n, which is n squared, n times 5, which is 5n, 4 times n, which is 4n, and 4 times 5, which is 20. These are your like terms, so notice how 5 plus 4 are being combined to get that 9. And then that's how we confirm that these are the factors. These are the factors for that polynomial because that's the answer we get. Now this only works this easily when there's a 1 in the front. So let's practice some more of these. Okay, so let's try w squared plus 9w plus 18. So the way you want to train your brain to think in this process is look at the last value. Let's call these A, B, and C. A follows the term of ax squared plus bx plus c. And this comes from quadratics, but we'll talk about that more later. But let's just look at it as A, B, and C. So let's look at our C value, 18, and think of what numbers you multiply to get 18, but you combine to get 9. I want to show you a strategy that I'm going to use in class. Draw an X. At the top, you're going to put the answer to multiplying A times C, and at the bottom, you're going to use what you have as a B value. So on the top of this X, A times C, meaning 1, times 18, that's 18. B, which is a positive 9. And now use this to help you organize your thinking. So what two numbers do you multiply to get 18? But when you combine, you get 9. So you have 1 times 18, you have 2 times 9, and then you have 3 times 6. So out of those combinations, 3 and 6 will give you the 9. So we're going to use positive 3 and positive 6. Because if you multiply positive 3 times positive 6, it gives you 18. And if you add positive 3 plus positive 6, you get 9. So those are the winners. Those are our answers. We're going to have W plus 3 and W plus 6. That is what gives you the factors for this polynomial. You can always multiply and check if the answer you get is the answer you started with. But for now, let's keep practicing. Here's another one. A squared plus 10a plus 24. So on this one, again, if you use the strategy of the x, you're going to write at the top a times c and then the bottom b. This is your a. Oh, well, let me rewrite it. Ax squared plus bx plus c. So a meaning the coefficient. What's the coefficient? The number 1. B meaning the coefficient. What's the coefficient? 10. C being the number that you have, so that's 24. So 8 times C is 1 times 24, and B is 10. Positive 24, positive 10. Okay, so now you think of what are the factors of 24? That will give you 10 if you combine. So for 24, we have 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. And as you're making this list, you're looking for the one that's combined to give you 10. 4 and 6 give you that 10 if they're both positive. So this works out. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 plus 6 is 10. All right, so just like that, your answers are A plus 4, and the other one's A plus 6. And then these are the factors. Again, this only works when your coefficient is a 1. Let's try now with some negatives. So let's do x squared plus 2x minus 8. So on this one, same process. Draw your x. At the top, you have a times c. On the bottom, you have b. So a meaning the first term, the coefficient of the first term, so 1. And then b meaning the coefficient of the middle term, and then c being the number. 8 times c, which is 1 times negative 8, we get negative 8. And then b is positive 2. Now here, you need to consider that you're looking for what two numbers do you multiply to get negative 8. That means one of these has to be positive and negative. So let's look at the factors of 8. 1 times 8, 2 times 4. And I believe that's it. So between these two, none of those add up to give you a 2. But the reason why is because one of them has to be negative. So if one of these is negative, they end up subtracting. So these are the two that could give you that positive 2. And the way we can get a positive 2 is if we subtract 2 from a positive 4. So that, again, is the reasoning, asking yourself, what do you do with the numbers that you found that combine to give you that number? Which one will have a negative? And once you decide, there's your answer. You will have x minus 2, x plus 4. All right, I'll wrap up this video and I'll teach more in class. See you then.